I smashed my finger. Hit that.
What about your finger?
I smashed it earlier.
Like in the door?
Like in the middle of the roll. I don't know what I did. You know how sometimes you just like, ow, where'd that come from? Can you guys hear me? Cool. I am going to sleep good today. All right. Can you guys remind me what we went over last week? I know it had something to do with front headlock chokes, but all my classes are starting to blur right now. Remember? I don't remember.
It was all around a snap down.
Okay.
I remember we did something where you defended and then you were holding the head and then you went upside down with your shoulder.
I remember.
Okay.
We were doing front headlock chokes and defense. Yes. Yes. So, the guillotine. We went over guillotines. That's right. And then we started doing guillotine defense. I was trying to figure out, where did we leave off? There was something. So we went over the guillotines, arm and guillotine, right? Snapping them down into the arm and guillotine. And we also kind of went over the high elbow guillotine, the Gary Tonin Bay. Well, he doesn't really do that anymore, but like when he first came on the thing, he used to do a lot of high elbow guillotines. And I remember attending his seminar where he's like, man, it took me forever to get this. So it's Gary Tonin. Gary said it took him forever to get that. But high elbow guillotine, don't feel bad. So we went over that, and then we went over if somebody gets us in the guillotine and we bridge, blocking the hips, and we walk over. So yeah, so we're gonna build off of those things today. Wait for Jennifer to get back on the screen. Thank you guys for reminding me. Like, been a lot of different classes. But one thing we did do last week in our Monday class was to bring back in some self-defense in the beginning, right? So while we're as a warm-up, let us work on our technical stand-up, and then we're going to add in our distance management with our foot movement, and then we'll add in some strikes. Somebody comes in, we're throwing the knee. I don't remember if everybody was here. I don't think, Jennifer, you weren't here last Monday, right? Or were you here? No, you weren't here last Monday. Okay, so, but you were in the self-defense class. So the self-defense Sunday, they didn't do like technical stand-up per se. It was more grip break and then finding your base and using your voice. So I really want to bring that stuff back in. And then because I want to give you guys the confidence to fight back. If you need to fight back, we're going to throw some hands, we're going to throw some knees. And I want you guys to just, you don't have to, just remember, like, if you want to just disarm and just de-escalate, yes. But at least I'd rather you guys have this tool than not have this tool. Okay, so let's just start off with 10 technical stand-ups, left and right. Then we're going to warm up with some shadow boxing. Nice. And then after the fifth one, add in like a little butt scoop back. Add in the jab kick to the shin or to the kneecap to manage the distance, you know, because you might not always be able to just hit technical stand up right away. You know, maybe the person's coming at you and you have to butt scoop a little bit before you jab and then come back up. Okay. Once you guys are done with that, let's add in our shadow boxing and our circling, right? So we'll have to use the tall camera. You guys will have to see me in the tall camera. I like adding in the hands with the circling because we can add in our hands and our shouting to move them out the way, right? But now we're going to use hands to move them and just keep our distance. Shadow box here and using your space. Your hand, your straights are going to be your long range weapons to keep them at a distance, right? Your tees are going to be able to keep them at a distance. Your knee is going to be a little bit of a mid-range weapon that's going to keep them at a distance. Your footwork is really going to keep them at a distance. So really work on shuffling to the side. Imagine somebody in front of you where you're managing your distance with your hands, right? Your hands and your base, and just continue to move, right? So shadow box for a little bit. You can shuffle, throwing some knees. Use your footwork. All right, now you guys keep moving as I'm talking. I want you to start to visualize like you're moving, so you're starting to get aware of your distances. So just keep moving, keep shadow boxing. You're starting to get aware of your distances. As you're becoming aware of your distances, as you throw your hands, as you throw your tees or your knees, I want you to start to develop a contract with yourself. So if somebody crosses this line, you know, your weapons come out, right? So you're going to realize what that distance is, Start to draw that contract in your head. Okay. This is the space that I'm managing. And then you guys can start to use your voice as you're moving around. Just, hey, tell them, hey, stop. Keep them away in that outward space where they don't break that line before they break that contract, right? Before you have to enable your contract with yourself. And then as soon as they start to break that line, you're throwing hands, right? Or evading movement, whatever you need to do to keep yourself safe. All right. All right, time. So now we're going to do our technical stand up into our hands, okay? So you can technical stand up, boom, kick, out, move, 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 shuffle, 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 right? Using your voice, hey, stop, 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 right? They come, you're throwing hands, you're throwing your knees, okay? So start to work it in with your technical stand up right now. I want you guys to always know that you don't have to use your strikes. You don't have to kick them. You don't have to fight them. You can always diffuse. But I'd rather you guys have the skill and train the skill than not have it. Rather to have it and not use it than to not have it when you need to use it. All right, and time. Keep feeling warmed up. And stretch out. So, guillotines. Okay, so I'm just going to review for Jennifer since she wasn't here last week, the guillotines, and we're going to all do the movements, right? So we did arm and guillotine, we did high elbow guillotine, and then we did the defense if somebody's trying to guillotine us. Okay, so I'm going to just do the high elbow guillotine first. It works really well if somebody is already broken down into the turtle. So you can visualize somebody went into the shot, you sprawled on them, stuffed their head, and now you're able to start to enter into the guillotine. Obviously, there's many other ways to get into it, but this is really a really great entry. The stuffing the takedown is a really good entry into the guillotine, especially because a lot of wrestlers were taught to put their head on that. I'm going to go on the tall camera now. A lot of wrestlers were taught to put their head on the outside. All right. Right? So they're used to shooting in for a shot, especially if it's like a high crotch. They're already going to be putting them, or a double. They're usually already putting themselves here, right? Which jiu-jitsu, a lot of wrestlers learn in the beginning of their jiu-jitsu career, I need to keep my shoulders in, or either not go for the double or work something else. So for jiu-jitsu people, this is great. We're like, haha, guillotine all day. They're already giving them our neck. So all we need to do is work on breaking them down and sprawling. Once we've broken them down and sprawled on top of them, we need to snap them back up. Okay? So we sprawled on them. We're here usually sprawling, cupping the tricep. We're gonna snap them back up When we snap them back up, we need to step deep past the body, just a little bit, because we don't want to keep them here broken down at this angle. We need their body a little bit higher so we can fit our body in this space. So we're going to snap them back up, run them down, snap them back up by penetrating deep. Then we can get our back shin across the waist like a seat belt, very similar to how we enter in when we're trying to repose guard. So our leg comes in like a seat belt, cross the body, leg over the top. And then for the first guillotine, if their arm is on the outside, we're going to apply hip pressure, and we're kind of pulling up a little bit on it. So that's the first one. So wave if you need me to do it again. Thumbs up if you're good to go.
I think I'm maybe see Cha and Sarah did it.
Okay. Cha, Sarah. So we're doing the one without the arm on the outside first. Yeah, probably. I think if the other arm, Sarah, would be better. Yeah. And then your arm is going to be on the outside, not on her leg. Outside of her body. Other arm, use the other arm. Yeah, exactly. So here. Do it again, Cha. All right, so start in the sprawl position. So everybody, both of you guys on your knees. Sarah, you can kind of pretend like you're going in for a double. Yeah. Right, exactly. Go ahead and knees off the mat. Sprawl your head on her, just your hips on her just a little bit. Yeah, hips down. Now you really want to snap her chin up and use your, I believe it's your left leg to step past her body just a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Now after you step up, you can get your leg, your right leg across her body, very much like how you repose your guard. Yep. I think it's because you're stepped too much to the side, Cha. You kind of are still, you don't need to step completely around her. You're still going to kind of step through her a little bit. That'll make it'll easier for your leg to get across her body. Yeah, because you're stepping behind her. You just need to step straight. Your hip, see how your hips are like sitting on her shoulder here? You're just walking forward and stepping past her, right? So if the dummy is, I'm just gonna lie the dummy down here, right? Me and the dummy are in the same alignment. All I'm doing is stepping past the dummy, right? I'm gonna whip him up and step past him. What you're doing, if I turn the dummy this way, right? What it looks like to me anyways, is you're kind of stepping and facing him this way. You just need to bring her up and step past her, as in stepping deeper past her hips, right? So then you're gonna be able to whip her up. Does that make sense? Thumbs up. If it does, wave if it doesn't. Okay. All right, so your hips are going to be straight in front of her hips right now. Good. Whip her up. Exactly. Now you can just get your hip, your leg across her body like a seatbelt. Good. And so the trick here is to still land on your side, right? So as you're stepping past her, you still kind of want to turn her a little bit like a steering wheel, so you don't land flat on your back. You can still land on your side. There you go. Good. Now apply head pressure and hip pressure and try to get your elbow a little bit to your knee. So you're going to pull up. So the key ingredients to finishing the guillotine choke is to use your shoulder to cover the back of the neck. So if my dummy is in my guard, in my guillotine grip, right? I don't want his head popping out. Let me stop to the side, right? So you guys can kind of see the top of my dummy's head. I don't want his head popping out. I want to use my shoulder to really cover, and I'm really cinching in here, right? Staying very tough. So now his neck is deeper in the choke, and I'm going to stay here even as I'm pulling up. And I'm trying to do, my dummy doesn't have very much stuffing here, but I'm really trying to do this, right? So I'm trying to get this kink here as I'm pulling up. So I'm using my leg pressure to stretch him out and pulling, camera angles. Ew. Right, pulling in here, right? My hand is doing this motion. I'm activating my back. That's how I'm executing the finish. Question? Ensuring that Sarah's head is fully dumped to the mat, so landing on your side helps to fully dump Sarah's head to the mat, right? And it helps for you to keep your shoulder over that neck. Dump to the side. There you go. Much better. How'd that feel? Better? Thumbs up if it was better. Do this if it wasn't. Okay, awesome. Lovely. Questions, Amy? All right. Lovely. Nice and fast tap. That's what I like to see. Nice, Sarah. Beautiful. So I'm gonna let you get one more rep, Jennifer, and then we're gonna add in the variations on these chokes. Okay, after everybody finishes this rep, let's look in. Okay, so this choke is for if somebody goes in for the double, we know it's for the double because both hands are on the outside. The head is on the outside, okay? If somebody goes in for the high C, one hand is going to be between the legs, right? Okay, so looking in the tall camera. Ugh. All right, so sore. Okay, double. To the outside of the body. High C, my head is still, high C is high crotch. It's a single leg entry, right? But it's not a standard single leg, right? It's a high C because our head's on the outside and we're high in the crotch, right? So this is a high C. Head is in the same position, which means that you're still going to get the guillotine choke. Okay, so we're here usually. The finish on this is going to be a little bit different. So in this case, the person's hand is going to be here. So when you get into the guillotine lock, their hand is shooting across the body. Does that make sense? Hand is now shooting across the body. So you're going to push it in almost as if you're getting like a Darce choke or an anaconda choke, but we're going to finish with the guillotine. So when we're in this position, the way we're finishing now is no longer just the back arc and just pulling up here. Now we're going to be doing this kind of, you know, Popeye motion or Sailor Boy, yippee-ki-yay kind of motion, right? So we're bringing our elbow now to our knee, and that's the goal. So the motion for this is going to be much more of a twisting motion here. Boom. So when I have my dummy, everything else, all the setup is the same. I still need to make sure that his neck area, the top of his head is not popping out. So my shoulder is nice and deep. His arm is now going to be on this side of the body, capturing his leg. And now I'm finishing here. Arms in the way. Finishing here. Boom. Doing this motion. Thumbs up if you need me, if you don't need me to do it again. If you're good with it, and we'll have Sarah and Cha demonstrate. Okay. All right. So. Here. All right, so you're still gonna sprawl down, Cha. All right. The sprawl, because look, if you didn't sprawl, you just execute it from there. Go back to the beginning. Right. Sarah is deep on the leg. So she's just gonna fireman's carry you over. You have to sprawl. Now when you sprawl, her fingertips aren't going to be so grippy on the back of your leg. And that's what you want in order to get into the guillotine. Okay, so she's in the high C. All right, go ahead, sprawl down. Boom, right? Really want to get that grip off your leg. So really sprawl that leg back. I know you're losing room. There you go. Now snap her up the same. Just how you did before. Boom. Boom. Really get on your side as much as possible. Yeah, exactly. Now bring your elbow to your knee. There you go. Amy, Jennifer, thumbs up if you're good. Do this if you want them to do it again. Amy's good. Jennifer's good. All right, you guys get to drilling. All right, good.
When you're gripping your own hands, is it beyond their body? Is it like outside, beyond their armpit? Or is it like-
Usually I'm trying to get this part of my arm on the neck, right? If it's too deep, right? So if it's too deep, it means my arm is going to be further through. And also their neck is going to be resting here on the medial part of my forearm. So it's going to take a longer time to choke, or I won't choke them all. I won't choke them out at all and just burn out my own arm. So we want to fit their neck on that nice bony part of our wrist. Makes sense? Good. Hey. Hey, you guys. So we're going to go over reasons why we want to get that leg over fast. But first, let's go into the third variation of this choke, which is the no arm guillotine. So sometimes the person's going in for a shot. We don't always get the arm, or maybe we swim our arm through. It doesn't matter. So however the person's coming in on us, or maybe we didn't execute it from a takedown at all. Maybe it was a scramble, or they were just sitting on their knees and we just snapped them down, right? In that case, it's highly unlikely that we're going to have our arms in, an arm in. I'll do it this way. Highly unlikely we're going to have an arm in, right? If we just snap them down, we're just going to have the chin. This is a perfect opportunity for the most powerful choke of all, which is the no arm guillotine or the high elbow. And I prefer the high elbow. So it's the same thing. Everything's the same. We're snapping them up, stepping through, getting our leg over. And in the case of the high elbow guillotine, you can get your leg over the top, but it's not necessary, because what's going to act as the wall is your forearm across the shoulder blade. Okay, so it's essentially a frame. So it's like we're framing down this way to keep them from moving forward, right? So we're framing here and we have the chin cupped and we can step over, and then the finish is the same elbow to knee as the one previous. All right, so we're still finishing elbow to knee. You don't have to bring your leg over for this one as much. It's a lot easier to finish this one if you're maintaining the frame and you're stripping out to get your elbow to your knee. Okay? Please princess wave if you need me to do it again. No? Okay, let's watch Sarah and Cha. Yes. Really, on this one, in most guillotines, think of your hips as a bowl. And it's filled with water. On each guillotine, you really want to, let me see if I can get my hips facing in the direction, right? If my hips are facing this way, I'm not dumping any water on the floor. As soon as my hips do this, I'm dumping water on the floor. You want to dump the water on the floor in the case of the guillotine. Why? Because when you're here, your hips are directly underneath somebody, which means their center of gravity and their weight is directly on top of you. You want to dump that weight to the floor, get your hips to the outside so that you don't either get mounted or somebody passes and then you have the head on the top side and it's all bad news from there. Okay, so do make sure that your hips, you're dumping that water to the floor, you're dumping their head to the floor, right? So if their head's here, I'm dumping their head to the floor, dumping the water to the floor, getting my hips to the outside so they can't stack over the top of me. All right, one more time for good measure so they can see Sarah and Cha. And then you guys get to this is a high elbow guillotine. It's been a long day. I'm starting to forget one of them. Forget things. Yep, shrimp. And beautiful, very nice. All right, you guys get to doing the thing. What time is it? All right, halfway through. I know I'm moving through this fast, but we kind of did these strokes last week, so this is just a refresher. And I want to get to the new chokes from here. All right, really dump that water to the floor. All right, one more for good measure, and then we're gonna move on to the next thing. Okay, so now we're working on defending against the choke. I did show another really cool choke from here, but I'm gonna save it because we're running out of time. So the next one is the defense. If you guys remember my Sprawl class, conditioning class that we did a few weeks ago, I was having you guys really kind of put the hands on the hip to minimize the amount of pressure somebody can apply to your neck when they're trying to choke you, right? And I know when Sarah and Cha were doing this, they really felt a relief of pressure to the neck. When you're applying the choke, the guillotine chokes, you really need to be able to drive your hips into the choke in order to get the finish. Otherwise, you're just using upper body strength, and as women, that's really difficult. Not that you can't do it, but it's just, it takes more time, strength, and effort. So knowing that the person needs their hips to drive power into the choke, somebody who's defending the choke and you're all sprawled out, you know they're coming in. Let me go this way. Let's go this way. Right? He's getting heavier and heavier. In a minute. I'm going to be pushing his hips away. As he sits down in for the choke here, I'm falling out. I'm still keeping my hands having hip pressure on his hips. So you can't suck me in and apply the pressure. So I'm keeping his hips pinned down to the mat. Then I'm going to fall with him. And I'm going to walk over and bridge, keeping awareness of where his hips are. And then we're gonna stay bridged and we're gonna run our head over to the high side. This one's really difficult for me to keep my earpiece in, so I'm just gonna demonstrate it on the next one, and then I'll put my earpieces back in. Questions? Thumbs up if you are ready to see Sarah and Cha do it for a second. All right, Sarah and Cha, you up. Bridge. Exactly. Sarah, do it again. Really going for the guillotine choke. Put your leg across your body. You don't have to do it like super powerful, but just go into the guillotine. Make it a little bit more realistic. Fall. Just let your hips sink to the side. Yeah, let your hips fall to the side, Cha. Hips fall to the side. There you go. Yes. You need to keep your hands on the hips. And I'm going to show you guys why. Jennifer, do you need them to do it again? No. Okay. All right, you guys, get to drilling. I want to show you the choke that comes off of this defense when somebody does this. Bridge and run over to the side. You guys, people with dummies, just keep drilling this. Jennifer, you might want to watch Amy for a little bit because she was doing really well last week with this, how she had just set it up. And she's just like running herself to the side. Sometimes she takes the dummy's arm and puts it around her neck when she's on this side. Do it again. Yeah. So she just kind of keeps it there, runs it, and then here to the side, right? And then, okay, so you guys, remember this. When I'm here with my head side high, remember that we cannot stay here in this position because this is how we'll get rolled. So we need to get bladed, open us our chest to the sky, and usually this is when the arm will pop off. Sometimes we need to take our hand and peel it off. Okay, so that was what I was saying, Amy. You were doing that last week. You would just kind of roll over the dummy's arms. Obviously, it's not going to hold onto your head, but sometimes you'll just take it back, arch your back, and then peel it off. Yeah. And do be aware, some people are still really good about getting that choke off the top side. So stay vigilant here. So drop your hips. So Cha, right? Try not to keep yourself square because some people are still really good about choking or rolling, really rolling, especially bigger guys. They'll re-roll you all day. It's not fun. So drop that pressure in. So you guys' hands, even as you're bridged upside down and kind of north-south, your chest is facing their sky, your hands still really need to be on their hips. And I'm going to show you why here in a second. So your hands, even if you're upside down and you feel like you're safe because you're not in a traditional guillotine, guess what? You can still get choked. So your hands need to be on their hips until you are completely to their side and that grip is off your neck. So even if you're upside down, right here, Amy, your hands should be on the dummy's hips. Yes, exactly. Don't worry about their arm being on, the dummy's arm being around your neck for now. Just replace it. Once you get here, you just put the dummy's arm back around your neck or just visualize and then peel it off. Yeah, but the most important part is keeping the hands on the hips. Sit. Yep, good job, Jennifer. Just maintain the hips for now. And then once you're in that side control, if you want, you can put the arm back over your neck or just visualize the arm. Just visualize the arm still around my neck as I'm doing this and I'm peeling it off. Right. Gotta drop that hip weight. Who's that on top? I can't tell. I just see booty and legs. So whoever's on top, Sarah and Cha, you guys gotta get bladed. Drop your hips straight down because you guys are square. That person on bottom needs to feel all your weight and all your pressure in order to let go of that guillotine grip off your neck. Dropping that hip weight into them. Yes, beautiful. All right, everybody, one more rep and then we're gonna get into the choke off of this. All right, so now we're getting back to the person applying the guillotine. Remember how I spoke about that leg? I'm going to talk about the leg coming over the body in a second. This is a good opportunity for me to just remind you guys that there is another exit. You know, it's not just the exit that I showed you. When somebody has the guillotine, they can always, and most likely people are going to try and beat this leg here. This leg that is over the top, this is the leg that most people are going to try to beat first. They're most likely going to try and tip you over and run over this leg. That's why it's so important that you get to your side, and as soon as you get to the guillotine grip, this leg comes over fast and first, even if all you do is bring that leg up, or if you bring your leg into a, I can't do it with this dummy right now, but keeps on kicking over. Even if you bring the leg over into like a butterfly grip, getting this leg engaged fast is so key, because the person can just hop over. All right, so the walls that we have, creating walls, creating barriers, so the person cannot just put us in a terrible position, the position that you guys just ended with, is in the arm and guillotine, the only real barrier that you have is your leg and your hip position. Okay, so leg and hip position, that keeps them dumped to the side, so it's very difficult for them to go that way. If you have the high elbow guillotine, your barriers are going to be your leg, your hip position, and also your frame off the shoulder, the high elbow frame off the shoulder. Okay, so let's say, regardless if it's high elbow or arm in, the person rolls over. I'm just going to move myself, and now they're bridging up. You still have a guillotine here, and I don't really know the name of this guillotine. It's just an upside down guillotine. All you do is you're going to cup the chin. If you started with the arm in guillotine, your hands got to swim in. If you're the high elbow guillotine, your hand should still already be here. Right, so you're going to keep the, what can you guys see? Let me change angles. Okay. Trying to find the best angle. Okay, that might be better. Okay, so, right, so we're here. How you're gonna finish this guillotine is, you wanna get the head from being off to the side of your body and putting your shoulder down, to using this head, hiking this head between your chest, like a football, right? Here, using your elbows to keep it feed in into your chest, cupping the chin down, right? And then we're gonna bridge in and get that same bend with our back on the mat. So you're here, cupping the chin in and bridging in. So just reminding you guys, if you have the arm in, you're swimming your hand through. If you had the high elbow guillotine, your hand should already be here. And all you're doing is cupping in, keeping the elbows tight together so the head's not flipping and flopping all over around the place. And then you're bridging in, getting this bend in the neck. Okay, questions? All right, Sarah Cha, you're up. So one person is, whoever's doing the guillotine is going to do the last guillotine. Okay, whoever's guillotine is doing that slippery, bridging, running over thing. Boom, boom. She's going to run to the side. Good, right here. Yep, and now you want to bridge into her. Not just straight up, hike her head, bridge into her. There you go. All right, so about here is kind of where you want your head. Because when you're bridging, if I'm lying down, right, we don't want to have them too close, because when we elevate our hips and we elevate our shoulder, or if we elevate our shoulder, I can't. So what's the best angle? You know, you see it, this area doesn't elevate. So we kind of want to hike them down a little bit here. So when we bridge our hips in, or bridge our hips in, or in, there's elevation. So right about here is where you want to go. And also you're going to be kind of at a T, right? So you want to be relatively perpendicular. So when I am bridging, I'm kind of bridging this way. If I'm bridging too much up, right, same problem, not enough elevation here. I got to be a little bit at a T. This one's kind of tricky. There you go. Make sure you pull down as you're hipping up. You pull down at the same time. You're getting closer. For Amy and Jennifer, I want you to practice the movement here. So make sure you kind of end up at a T. Practice the movement. After you're done, you're going to take the head, pull it down to the side, pull it down, and then your top arm's going to swim in for under, and you're right on top. Okay, so you're going to practice the movement. Boom, hike the head down, get that underhook, and run on top. Good.
You're turning them over for the second part.
No, you're just pulling their head to the ground, and you're pulling yourself on top into side control.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. There you go, Amy. You need it. I think you need to be a little bit more out of T too to the dummy. You're not going to be super parallel like this. You're going to have like more of this angle. So for Sarah and Todd, this is why it's so important for you to block those hips. Right? Don't get lazy here. The person can still choke you. I've been choked from here before, and I was super mad because I'm pretty good about blocking hips, but I was going up against a really good wrestler who just knew how to keep my head in that, what I'm going to call the tunnel, which is his elbows and his little chin strap grip. I was like, I'm so good at getting out of this position, and I got choked. And he was just really good about moving me every time I moved and bridged and was blocking his hips out. He would adjust on the bottom too with his feet. So he wasn't just sitting here waiting. Every time I moved on the top here, he was moving his feet here, keeping me inside keeping me in position for the choke. Okay. So really use your hands on that chin to keep them in. Don't let them. Good job. Yes. Good job, Amy. On time. Let's everybody get one more rep. 7 o'clock now. All right, and then also for Jennifer and Amy, I'm not sure if you guys know Stephanie Frosso, she's super athletic. So I'll get her in bad positions. I'll get her in like the guillotine grip and she's automatically already up bridging and like circling around. So I'm like, crap, how do I stop this? And I asked one of my coaches, I was like, man, if somebody's bridging and they're really quick and really fast about bridging around, even I'm trying to get this finished and they're really good about bridging and running around so that I can't get the guillotine finished, how do I stop it? And so his answer to that was to block them out. So I need to create a wall. Here's this, remember I talked about the different walls that we need to create in the guillotine grip. The first one was our leg from the standard guillotine. Second one for all guillotines is hip position. Third one on the high elbow guillotine will be our frame, the shoulder across the elbow. In this instance, on the, I don't know, the upside down guillotine, our wall will be, and I think you guys might have to look at the tall camera, will be dumping their head. And then you see how my hand, maybe this camera will be better. You see how my arm kind of goes across the body here? This is a wall. So as I'm pulling their head down, my body comes on top so I can beat them in this race. So just knowing how to create barriers, right? Trying to keep just simple concepts in your head, creating walls and creating barriers to prevent people from just running through all your attacks is so key and so important. So ask yourself the question and continue to ask yourself the questions as I'm teaching class. Where are my frames? What obstacles can I put up in front of the person in order to prevent them from just running through my guard? Where is my base? Where is my center of gravity? These are key questions to continue to ask yourself in any class to help you to start to formulate how this actually starts to work together. And also your ability to see the shapes. My coach talks about all the time. See the shapes, see the shapes. What shapes are you talking about? There's always angles in jiu-jitsu. Angles not mean you're creating the angles as in you can literally see geometrical shapes like the triangles and all this other random stuff. Anyways, I can go on and on. Jennifer, comments or questions about the class?
Yeah, that was fun. I can't wait to try it on the person.
Yay. It's good. Amy, what about you? Thumbs up. Wonderful. Sarah Cha, anything? Awesome. All right, you guys. Well, I'll see you all Saturday. We'll do a check-in again like how we did last Saturday to see if what kind of class we want to do. If you guys are itching for a hard workout or if you want another mobility session. So I know me and Cha are pretty injured. So last Saturday we did a mobility session, and depending on how you guys feel, we might stick with that. So have a great rest of your week. Recover well.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.